All right, let's start getting it together here. We'll get going. First, we want to introduce, by the way, my name's Shane Bailey. I'm from Building Science Authority. We are the best engineering firm in the world. Okay, well, maybe not in the world. We focus on catastrophic loss, which is why we're here tonight, hurricane-related damage. We do this all across the nation. Thank you for having me here tonight to help moderate Paul. And Paul's the first person we'd like to introduce tonight. Paul Clark, partner of Storm Consultants / Renegade Construction. Paul's been in the insurance and construction field since 1998. He has over 25 years experience in the industry and between roofing, general contracting, insurance adjusting, and the roofing distribution industry. He is a true expert and consultant. Please welcome Paul Clark.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Shane.
Yes.
Make me feel like an all-star. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. Storm Consultants puts these on to help contractors and homeowners get educated on what's going on out there with all the hurricane and storm damage and things you guys need to know. We put these on every couple months. So I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for coming out and doing that. We put the panel together. Unfortunately, Lansing Building Supply, I guess they were sick because they didn't show up tonight. And I talked to them on Tuesday, so I don't know what happened there. But I want to thank, we bring Matthew from Tech in a Flash. He was going to talk to you guys a little bit about protecting your guys' cybersecurity and stuff like that and more. We got Kim from MIS. She's going to talk to you about window testing. You got Mr. Anthony Massimino. He needs no introduction. But no, Mr. Anthony and me work a lot together. I think the premise of today's is going to be talking about hurricane dates, talking about window damage, and talking about roof damage. It's going to be a lot about what we talk about today. And then, Matt's going to talk about protecting your investment as your business. And I can tell you firsthand what Matt did for us at Renegade Roofing and Construction. We had a check for about $25,000. A customer sent us, and they wired it, but they didn't wire it to us. Somebody hacked in our emails, and they wired it to them. Well, thank God that we got a hold of Matt, because probably at the 12th hour, he got it back somehow. But he told us, next time you won't be so lucky. The FBI might find it for you, but bye-bye $25,000. So how many of our businesses can take those $25,000 hits? We're smaller businesses, you can't do that. So Matt's and I have done a lot of work together. He protects our security now, and for people in general, but a lot of contractors. He'll get into that later and tell you about you guys are targets, especially after hurricanes. These people aren't stupid; they know where they're targeting. I want to thank Shane for coming out at the last minute and moderating for us. Shane's one of our good partners. Me and Shane have been friends for years. We do a lot of stuff together. So Shane's a good resource, and he's actually a good guy. He came here at the last minute and helped bail us out. So thank you, Shane. And then we got Miss Kim with MIS. Kim's going to talk to you about window testing and the need for it. There's a big need for window testing. I know we've been doing testing on windows. One of the things that me and Anthony Massimino have doing at Remediation 911. We have a current client also we have 4 partners in here right now that are with this one customer. We have me with Renegade Roofing Construction. Then we had Anthony Massimino get involved with Remediation 911. Then we had Chris Ferreira sitting here in the front. He doesn't want no attention, so everyone give him a big round of applause. With Integrity Claims, he's a public adjuster. And then finally, after Chris couldn't help, and this is the proper sequence for people, then we got him to Mr. Harvey Cohen's law group, and now they are helping. So we have 4 people on one claim, and that's what this is about, guys. That's what this is right here. We help each other. We all, at the end of the day, it's about the client and the customer by helping. It's not our egos or nothing like that. We need to help each other and educate. So I want to say thank you to all those partners that are on that one job and helping that customer. One other thing on that customer I just want to bring up. How many people live in Cape Coral? How many people got 10 inches of rain in 2 hours? 11 inches. So with that being said, this same customer calls us crying. This poor lady's been through it. And Cohen Law Firm's helping. Integrity Claims is helping. Remediation 911's helping, and Renegade Roofing is helping. And I get on the horn, she calls me, and I get on the horn and get everybody together. And we get over there, and the walls and windows are just leaking. So one of the things that I really want to talk to you guys today about is why windows are so important. A lot of people don't know about the windows damage that is going on. Thanks, Jerry. So one of the big things, you guys, one of the things that we'll be talking about today is statute of limitations. Harvey can talk about that. But anybody that's been in the business and knows hurricanes, during Hurricane Irma, you had 3 years to file a claim. During Hurricane Ann, you had 2 years to file a claim, which you still have until September 28th of this year. So don't let anybody tell you any difference. But if you get any storms here on out, good luck. You have 1 year. And if you don't file a claim in 1 year, you're in trouble. You have no options. But if you do file a claim, you'll still have an additional 6 months to do a supplement. So, with that being said, when we get to Harvey, he can tell you what the insurance companies have been doing. There's no way possible we get another Ian that everybody's going to get their insurance claim taken care of. No way possible. So this is why we put these on, to educate you guys, so you can have the education, so if you get into this predicament, you can help others. So I want to thank you again for everybody coming. My wife finally came to one of my events, so everyone give Tammy applause. Yeah, and she drove 7 hours. And not only am I an advocate. So one thing I'm going to say about my family and who we are is I care about the insurance, restoration, and construction industry, and most importantly, people. My wife is a nurse, and she was just in Tallahassee at classes and lobbying for the health for everybody. So for this area right down here. So that just tells the people that we are, the people that I want to be partners with and work with, are people that care about one another. So, Shane, thank you guys, and you'll hear me talking a little bit, but please listen to what everybody has to say. Everybody's an expert up here, or I want to have them here. Thank you, guys.
Give a round of applause, everyone. Thank you. All right, Tech in a Flash. Matthew Rebstock is a visionary entrepreneur and the esteemed owner of Tech in a Flash, a leading managed IT service provider spearheading Southwest Florida's cybersecurity revolution. With a background as a United States Air Force programmer, hey, thank you for your service, and CompUSA tech manager, Matthew brings over 2 decades of expertise to the table. He is committed to provocative IT solutions, empowering businesses to safeguard against cyber threats with innovative strategies and cutting-edge technologies. He cemented his commitment with his recent published book entitled Not Today, Hackers, which serves as a business owner's guide to practical and proven protections to prevent cyber incidents. Please welcome Matthew Rebstock.
Thank you. Is it on? There we go. Perfect. So pretty much, Paul asked me to come here and talk to you guys. In the email, it said something about Windows intrusion. I said I had a lot to talk about the subject, but I don't think it's the way that you guys think about it. It's Windows, the operating system on your computers. Unfortunately, the state of cybersecurity in our area right now is that the cyber attackers, whether they're abroad or in the country, whatever it happens to be, they know what's going on in our area. So last year, we probably had about 17 different cyber incidents that we dealt with. The majority of them are all focused on people in the construction industry. We've got roofers, we've got developers, we've got everybody that supports them, and I think outside of that, we had maybe an accountant and a real estate agent that got hacked. So when Paul was talking to you about the $25,000 incident, that's on the small end of the scale. We recently just had a real estate agent that basically had her bank account hacked into. This happened end of December. $147,000 was wired to the Philippines. So a lot of people, and every single one of these instances that we go through, these people say, well, how could this happen? And we do our audit, and we show them exactly how it happened. And they said, I have no clue. So my goal today, I'm kind of on a mission to help protect as many people as possible from their livelihoods being at stake. So hopefully you walk away from this learning at least one thing that you can take home to prevent some kind of cyber threat. Just case in point with this lady, we found out that the password that she was using was also stored on her computer. She used it for 52 other websites. That, not the one for her bank, but one that she used somewhere else, was actually exposed on the dark web. So that basically means that it's out there, it's public knowledge, anybody can grab that information. So I want to ask you guys a question here. Who remembers this text message that came through? I think it was 2018. It was a text message that came through and said there's a nuclear missile inbound to Hawaii. You guys remember that? So the story behind it is basically that the alert broadcast system got hacked. And when they went through and they did their forensic audit of what happened, this was basically how that happened. Gentleman took a photo at work. Behind him in the background is a Post-it note with his password on it. That gentleman does not work for them anymore. But this is basically what we're facing here. So how many people here have a Post-it note with under the key? Oh, man, that's great. Okay. So, yeah, so I know your boss. Anyways, it's all right. You have a password manager, sir. Come on, man. No. So the big thing here is talking about password hygiene, because every single client that has been hacked or that we've gone through and done a forensic audit or a security assessment for, we find passwords everywhere. And you think people get inventive about how they're storing passwords? You're putting it in the contacts on your phone. Nope, hackable. You're putting it in your Outlook contacts. No, hackable. I actually did a talk in front of a bunch of accountants where I asked them, where do you store your passwords? They said, Excel. And they all said, but it's password protected. And I stopped what I was doing, and I showed them in a matter of 2 minutes that I could get past that password. That password means nothing. So make sure that you have a very secure password manager, one that requires you to plug a password in that you've never used anywhere else, that requires a code to be sent to your phone or through that little authenticator app that you have. And then make sure that every single password that you guys are using is unique. And when I say unique, I'm not talking about if your password for one thing is fluffy123, you add an exclamation mark. Hackers, when they find one, they will find the pattern to everything. And you can't... You can say you're really smart and that you're not going to fall victim for a phishing scam, which may be the case. But what about that website that you're using? Like, who has a Target.com account? Anybody? Okay, so Target got hacked, and all of the username and passwords in their database is out online that I can go download right now. So if that password that you're using is also a password in conjunction with your email account for, let's say, your bank account, the hackers are going to take that information. They have programs they just plug it into, and they will try 100,000 websites a day until they get a success. So just make sure that if you use a password manager like we do in my company, I click generate, and I let it create this long, garbly gook password. I don't even know what it is. I let my password manager inject it. So what's that? So, and that is the thing. So what if it does get hacked? So if it does, but here's the deal. So I would hazard a guess that 90% of the room right now, their passwords are stored in the browser on their computer. It takes me about 37 seconds. So, yeah. So that's the thing. I don't do this on a daily basis trying to hack people. Imagine how fast the hackers are at getting that information, right? They have programs built for this. So all of the passwords that you're storing in your browser, whether it's Chrome, whether it's Edge, whatever it happens to be, those are not protected. When you go to a website and it plugs in your password, did it ever ask you, verify you're actually you? Tell me you're you so that I can use your password. That's the problem. So you get you guys are already trusting a password manager. You're just trusting a very non-secure password manager. So I'm just saying put all your eggs into that basket with a password manager. If you want to take a backup of it, you want to export the data and keep it in a safe and paper form, that's totally fine. But I guess the reality of it is that you will never be able to have a unique password for every single thing that you have to log into. On average, somebody has roughly about 87 different sites that they have to maintain a password for just in their personal life, not even the business life, right? So who's going to remember all of those? There's no way to do it. So we've created technology that will basically secure it. So I just wanted to, I want to kind of direct you to one other piece here. So this is called a man-in-the-middle attack. It's a very sophisticated attack that we're seeing out in the wild, and I want you guys to know that this is something that happens. So you start thinking about when you're clicking on links. So basically what it starts with is what's called a MFA protected resource. It's a resource that you get that little code on your phone texted to you, or you have like an authenticator app, right? So what the hackers do is they stand up a server. It's basically like it's a replica of what you're used to seeing, okay? So you basically go to that fake website and you put your credentials in. The credentials goes into the hacker's site, but they actually forward it to the MFA protected resource, like you actually did it yourself. From there, an MFA request comes to your phone or wherever it happens to be. The hacker's going to ask for it. You're going to plug it in. That's going to go, the code's going to get forwarded back to the actual resource that you're not seeing, and all of a sudden, bingo, the hackers are in. But what you're going to see, because the hackers are really smart, is it's going to redirect you to a page that says, your password failed, try again. So you're not going to think that they have access to it. So just pay really close attention to websites, like the URL that's up in the top. When you're inside of your emails, don't click on links. You can either highlight them, copy and paste them, because I can make it say whatever I want and actually redirect you somewhere else, or hover over the link and read where it goes. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully you took something away from this, and if you guys have questions, I'll be here afterwards. I will tell you one thing. If you guys are curious, like the banker that we had, if you want to, actually, is this? Yeah, this is the right one here. If you want to find out if your credentials are out on the dark web right now, you can use this QR code. You would just basically open up your phone, scan it. It's going to take you to a web page. Just fill out your name, your email address, and it has to be your business email address. We can't do a scan for somebody that has an @Gmail or @Hotmail. It has to be your business. Once you fill that out, we'll get all the data. It probably takes me about 3 business days to get the scan done, and it should. If you go through that scan or the QR code, it may ask you to book an appointment with me. That's basically for me to read the results out to you, because you do not want me to email them to you, because it's going to have secure data in there, right? If you really want me to email it to you and you don't want to book an appointment or whatever, totally fine. I'll email it to you. We will send it encrypted so that you'll have to put in a multi-factor password, but hopefully that brings some value to you guys.
We have a question over here. First question I'd like to ask is kind of personal. Do you see AI affecting businesses' IT security, and how so?
So the AI security piece, it's twofold. There's going to be a positive and there's going to be a negative. So I'll talk about the positive first. With us, we're actually leveraging AI to keep our clients more secure. So case in point, probably everybody here gets spam on a daily basis. And a lot of us will probably get something like, your CEO asked me to send you a gift card or whatever. We use AI to basically read the emails in advance and put like little banners at the top that are meaningful to that specific email. So it will tell you, hey, this person is pretending to be Paul, but they're not actually emailing from Paul's email. Please don't click on this, right? Instead of in the past, like it might just say this is a suspicious email, but it doesn't give instructions. So people are kind of desensitized to that. The other thing on the negative side is almost everyone here that gets a spam is going to say, hey, I can identify it because it has really crappy grammar. Like I can tell it's the Nigerian prince that's sending me whatever it happens to be, right? So the people that don't have English as their first language, they are essentially using AI to make their grammar of that of a college graduate from America. So you will never notice grammar being a problem anymore. You'll have to look for the other telltale signs like the URL pointing you to the wrong place or the display name or email looking like that of somebody that you do business with. So the last little thing that I want to throw out there to everybody is if anybody, and especially in like Paul's case, if anybody messages you about wiring money, pick up the phone and call them. Do not do it through email. Everything, and really anybody that, even if you say in your business you don't have, you don't ever wire, make sure you have that conversation with your vendors and your customers before the hackers do. Because even though you have that stance, if you don't outwardly state it, and the hackers get to the client first and say something about it, you'll end up realizing that they pay the hackers before they pay you. So I recommend to anybody that you're going to engage with that is going to be like a high dollar ticket item, or you may actually wire with them, you need to have something in place called an electronic funds transfer policy. It's just a written like legal mumbo jumbo, but you're going to give that to the client at the first engagement. And then you can do stuff like if you do a lot of wiring, put it in your email signature. So it states down in the bottom, if we ever change the way that we're wiring or we ask you to pay differently, this needs to be a verbal conversation over the phone, call us and put the phone number. So that way, if somebody does change, say, oh, you emailed me and I wired the money to that new bank account that you said you opened up, you can say, we already established this. That's not how we do business. And it's on them instead of on you.
We have another question. If anyone wants to hear another question. How about what issues are you seeing in our area in relation to wire fraud, as you brought up with Paul?
So unfortunately, back in the day, it was all ransomware, right? People are familiar with ransomware, where they basically they encrypt your data, you can't gain access to it, and then they ask you to pay money. Nowadays, it's almost all perpetrated via some kind of email breach and wire fraud. So we've actually seen, I think out of the 17, there was 13 of them. It was all wire fraud, and we're talking about yours was $25,000. I think the most expensive one that we dealt with was $440,000. It was actually a paper company, a local paper company that deals with millions of pounds worth of paper. They're actually a client of ours. We have everything secured for them, and this still happened because what ended up happening was their vendor basically had their email address hacked. So as they're watching these emails going back and forth for this deal, the hacker ends up spinning up a fake email address that looks like my client's. There's no way that I can prevent something like that happening. Like if your email was papercompany@fortmyers.com, if somebody does papercompany@fortmyers.mail.com, you need to be able to see something like that. Well, unfortunately, when they sent that email to the vendor, person paying the check or doing the wire didn't call them because they didn't have that conversation up front, and they ended up wiring the money to the hackers. They got half of it back, but still $220,000 out the door. What's that? So they got half of it back because the wire actually went in 2 stages. So for wires, if anyone has this issue happen, time is of the essence. So you have 24 hours essentially before it leaves the bank and clears. So if you can call your bank and basically get that wire stopped, do that. If you missed the 24-hour window, and because this went in 2 stages, they missed it for the first one, but they didn't miss it for the second one. The second thing that you do is you contact your local FBI field office. They actually have a trace that they can put on it. Most of the time, they can't get the money back, but they can figure out where it went to, and if it's in conjunction with somebody that they're investigating, they can help bring down that, whatever that crime syndicate ring is, right? Good.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matthew. Next up is Kim from MIS, a Salas O'Brien company. They are the world's largest envelope engineering company in the United States. That's what it says. They are one of the largest envelope engineering companies in the United States. They are Windows. MIS has an FGIA, AAMA accredited lab and testing facility in Daytona Beach. They test Windows. They test Windows especially for insurance and are backed by fenestration masters. Last year, there were only 166 fenestration masters in the world. MIS has 5 of them on their payroll. Yes, that's pretty cool. So they know Windows. So we're going to go ahead and welcome Kim to the stage today.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, you can hear me pretty good. So thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy lives to be here tonight. So as I said, I represent MIS. We're a Salas O'Brien company. We are the leaders in the testing of Windows in the United States. We are now have 6 fenestration masters on our payroll. So in the English language that I understand, the PhD of Windows. So we've been in business a long time. MIS, on the insurance end, we were one of the first companies after a major storm or hurricane to test windows and sliding glass doors. We work in conjunction with lawyers, public adjusters, in order to get windows, sliding glass doors replaced after a hurricane or storm. What separates us from anyone else is our PhD of Window Masters and our credentials. Our credentials, and they're next to none. And I stand by this company because of what they bring to the table for the client and how we can help attorneys with their clients and serve their clients better in that end. So just a little bit more, and I'm trying to see because I don't have my glasses. So this just gives you an idea of when we do testing after a hurricane, when windows have been compromised, we look for adjusted gaskets, rack sashes, okay? If on a sliding glass door, if it's loose in the track. A window, when it's been compromised, it has a rattle. So the sails are broken, it doesn't come together the way a window should. Windows today, and this is what we're finding out in the industry, and Paul, we've talked about this, is that there's such a main part of the structure of a building. So you think about it, if your roof leaks, 9 out of 10 times, your windows are going to leak. Water's got to come somewhere. It's going to go down. And it's going to go into the windows. It'll affect the structure, the drywall. And now at that point, we have construction issues. So it's very vital to think about windows. Think about windows after a hurricane or storm. If you eliminate them, you get another hurricane, what's going to happen? They're going to leak, you're going to have drywall damage, and all types of structural damage. Think about new construction. The rule of thumb in new construction is 5-50-90. Why? If you're a general contractor or you're doing a restoration project and you're installing windows, you want to make sure that those windows, that installation is being tested. Because if there's a problem, well, before everybody starts pointing fingers, correct the problem. And this is where MIS stands above. We're going to come out and test those windows, but we're not going to leave until we tell you why they're leaking. So we bring the A team. A lot of companies today, they bring the B and C team. Why? More money in their pocket. You keep paying and they keep bringing. But we want to serve others well. And that's our motto. serve others well, whether we're doing it in construction, brand new construction, whether we're doing it in insurance. And don't overlook windows. In insurance, they bring your claim over the top. And people forget. You know, I could look at a window, a storefront window, and to the eye, you're going to say, oh, that window looks great. There's nothing wrong with that window, but I guarantee you, after a major hurricane or storm, that window will leak. It has been compromised. But we overlook that. So now you're going to pay out of your pocket when you can utilize Cohen law. You can utilize our testing, anyone, the expertise, so it doesn't come out of your pocket. And we back it up. And that's how we back it up, with the experts, the forensic testing, depositions. So you're not getting some ma and pa, you know, they're in a Ford pickup truck and they got a little sprayer on the back of the truck and, you know, they're going to go around and test your windows. So we serve others well. We're here to help you, answer any questions. I answer my phone 24/7. So if you have any questions or any information, please give me a call. We'd love to help you.
There you go. There's a great question on the sheet here. Are insurance companies starting to require testing?
Yes. So
How so?
So how fast did I answer, right? What's happening is water causes causation. So with all these new laws going into effect, and such as Paul has brought out, with the limited amount of time that we have in Ian, you have time, but it's coming to crunch time. And especially when you install brand new windows. When you have them tested and they get that clean bill of health, or let's say there's a problem, those windows are fixed. Now something happens. The insurance companies will make good on that claim. And that's why you have attorneys. You have Cohen Law, and they fight on your behalf. But test the windows. Don't think for a minute that you're disservicing your clients by bring up the windows. Because if there's a problem, why should they pay out of pocket when the insurance companies have to make do? And they're making this a requirement because now they have leverage. So if you show that these windows, and another really important thing, and I apologize for not bringing this up, was MIS is an AMA accredited lab. So what that means is, in the world of insurance and being recognized as we have the credentials to stand up, we do depositions for attorneys, we help the public adjusters. So our reports are like 500 pages. I mean, they're long. And we are audited every 3 months, which means our equipment has to be calibrated every 3 months. Who gets audited and calibrates their equipment? We do. So so we really do. We take a lot of care in servicing others well.
So a question, does MIS test new windows that have been installed before, both commercial and residential?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And that's where that 550-90 rule comes in, especially new construction. I can't tell you, you can carry a window the wrong way and it will be damaged. A window will damage in transportation. It happens all the time. So when you test at that 5%, now you can see, and that's what we do. If you're installing windows and 5% everything seems to be okay, 50% we have leaks, we have problems. What's going to happen is we're going to tell you why that window is leaking. Is the installation done improperly? Did the window get damaged during transportation? And then we're going to do it again at 90%. Because as we all know, once everybody leaves the job site and the project is completed, now all of a sudden, oh, there's a problem. So here comes the finger pointing. Oh, it's the architect. Oh, no, it's the GC. Oh, no, it's the window guy. So you solve the problems. And I always say this, I love this. Cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that you have everything in order. It saves so much money and aggravation in the long run. So.
Great. Any other questions out there for Kim? There you go.
So, if you're a homeowner,
Yes.
and let's say your windows got affected by the hurricane,
Yes.
and I call you in to do the testing and stuff, it sounds like, you said, you need to get attorneys or public adjusters to go fight your insurance company. As a homeowner, how often do you actually have enough money that you can actually replace your windows? Or is the attorney and the public adjuster and everyone else getting the money, and then you still don't get windows up?
Well, this is the key. When, for a homeowner, if you don't have a lot of windows in your home, it's really, a lot of them find it not worth their while. You get that public adjuster, you'll get an attorney, such as Harvey, because when you go in, what we do with testing and what our credentials bring to the table, that is what gets you what you need. Okay? We can test. So how this works is, say you call me and you say the Smiths, you and I did a project. So I go in and I do a preliminary observation. That observation is of no charge. So I go in and I'll look and I do some things. I take some pictures to see if, in fact, there has been damage. If there's damage, then a proposal is sent. And then it's up to the client if they want to proceed. They want to proceed, our testing team comes out. They provide all the necessary documentation that you need for your insurance companies. Insurance companies think about something. They look at homeowners as weak. Really, they do. They figure they don't know much. What does a typical homeowner know? It's funny, it's a story. I went to go look at townhouse. And never in my life did I do this, but I did, is I started testing the windows, doing an observation. And I said to the realtor, I said, they're going to have problems. Every single window, sliding glass door, had been compromised. It rattled. It had ingested gaskets. It had rack sashes. Things were loose in the frame. But you don't know that, right? As a homeowner, would you know that? Would you look? Would anybody look? So that's where, when you take a problem after a hurricane or major storm and you use the resources of an attorney, of a public adjuster, this is where they can help you to get to that next step.
One thing I want to say real quick about window testing, every home or property is different. So a value of your windows, okay, well, windows you might think are $20,000. They could be $100,000. To have it tested, it could cost you $5,000 or $10,000. Is the made whole? I don't think the correct question is if the public adjuster gets paid, if the attorney gets paid, or if the testing gets paid. Why should the homeowner have to go through that, or a property owner have to go through that by the insurance company? That's the real question. It's not on the public adjuster, it's not on the attorney, and it's not on the testing company. That's the wrong direction for people to be looking at. And unfortunately, that's what's going on with the law changes that have happened. The insurance companies, and unfortunately, I will say this on tape, the governor made a poor decision and said, oh, we're going to go ahead and change these laws. And know what, Mr. and Mrs. Property Owner in the state of Florida? I represent you. In 2 years, you'll get a discount. Come on now. In what business do you get a discount in 2 years? Nothing goes down in 2 years. So that's the wrong questions are being asked, because the contractors, the testing companies, the public adjusters, and the attorneys are made to be the bad guys when it's the insurance companies. I worked for an insurance company. I did insurance claims, and insurance companies do not answer to policyholders. They answer to stockholders. So what does that tell you?
That's great. That's really good.
Really quick on that, Paul. It's so true. And that's what we're saying. They like to degrade homeowners, like you don't know what you're talking about. So there's a lot of resources out here. We have a lot of information today on the board and anything we can do. So please, if you have any questions for me, I'd love to talk to you and help you out. And thank you for having me, Paul.
Great. Thank you.
I think on the question of, who's going to end up paying on this thing. If it's Hurricane Ian related, the attorney's fees are still, Harvey, you may want to comment on this. If it's Hurricane Ian related, the attorney's fees are still going to come out of from the insurance company, not out of the settlement.
Right. In addition is what you mean, right? So right now, if everybody knows, we're able to collect money for our homeowners or property owners, condo associations, whatever it is, and we can collect all of that money and say, here you go. Then we can say, by the way, insurance company, you owe us our attorney's fees and you owe us all of our costs to hire engineers and bring in people like this, the experts, so that we can bill for that too. The law has changed, and that's what Paul was just talking about. That really screwed people across Florida. And when, and I'll talk about it in a minute, but after the law has changed and your policy has renewed, if we have any kind of, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a hurricane anymore. It could be a hailstorm, thunderstorm, whatever it is. Now you're under the new law where you can't get attorney's fees, you can't get costs, and you're limited to 1 year for doesn't matter what it is. Okay. In the law, the way it was kind of like an automatic. So if we won for you, they have to pay us our fees. There are ways, and we come up with strategies to think of creative ways to give an insurance company an opportunity to pay properly. And if they don't, then we can sue them for like bad faith or other things, right? So those are going to be, unfortunately, these laws are brand new. So we're going to have to go through the process and really dig through and find out the best ways for us to help our clients and provide them with the resources that they need to get their projects done.
Harvey, if the damage was done in Hurricane Ian,
we're good.
they can still get your attorney.
100%, yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes. Right. And that's how we like exactly what Paul was saying. When we all work together, it's just a great team because we have all the resources and that is what we do. So we hire experts because when they come under our umbrella, there's different protections and things like that we have. Also, when we deal with experts or engineers especially, we want them to go out and do an assessment and then call us on the phone and say, hey, this isn't so good. Don't write it, don't put it down in writing. Just give me a call and say, this isn't a good one, or, it's 50-50 or whatever it is. So give us an opportunity to talk to the client and decide what's the best, how should we proceed for this? Yeah. Yeah, good questions.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Harvey, for that. And let's give Kim a big hand, by the way. Thank you, Kim. Next up, Anthony from Remediation 911. Anthony Massimino is a dynamic entrepreneur with a passion for helping others. With a strong background in public adjusting, recognizing the need for effective remediation services, Anthony transitioned into remediation industry in 2011 after working Hurricane Superstorm Sandy in New York and founding Remediation 911 Water, Fire, Mold, Incorporated. Remediation 911 is proud to be a GSA government woman-owned and family-owned company. Anthony and his wife, Kathleen, has led the company to great successes, establishing it as the trusted name in the industry. By the way, with licenses as building contractors, mold remediators, mold assessors, HVAC contractors in the state of Florida, Remediation 911 offers a comprehensive range of services to meet their clients' need. On a personal note, I've used them. The one thing you hate when you refer someone is phone calls constantly from that person. All I get is phone calls saying what an amazing job they've done and how great they've done each time they've interacted with my customer. So I wanted to put that in there. Please welcome Anthony Massimino.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate that. I got to come and say hi to Mrs. Clark. How are you? So, yeah, hi, I'm Anthony Massimino, founder of Remediation 911. The vice president. My wife has taken over the presidency. I learned here tonight that I need to change my fantasy football name on all my passwords. I'm in big trouble. But, yeah, so we're family owned and operated. We just celebrated 10 years in business. Our headquarters is out of West Palm Beach, Florida. We are real legit storm chasers. We travel the nation. We've been as far west as the Texas freeze. Spent a month out there. We've done Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, and just up and down the coast and in the Panhandle and in Louisiana. I'm never going back there. But yeah, we came over to the West Coast and fell in love with it. And being Floridians on the East Coast, our vacation was always in the Keys. So we ended up coming over here, and we're like, wow, it's really beautiful here, and the people are really, the vibe's great here. We keep saying it's a vibe, so we like it. But yeah, everything that everybody's saying up here in respect to, I mean, I feel like a little guy up here. I mean, this guy's a titan in the industry. I mean, when I tell you, I don't know who knows who Harvey Cohen is in this room, really. But this guy is a champion and a pioneer in the industry of insurance for law. He's been at it for a long time. He's constantly helping us with pivots on how to beat these insurance companies. So I really, really feel blessed to be up here with a guy like Harvey. But yeah, we're family owned and operated. Shane said that we're contractors. We're mold remediators, HVAC contractors. I think to kind of tie into the theme, and Paul was talking about the windows, and we still have a no pun intended, a window of time to still get claims in for windows. And a lot of clients that are out there, a lot of roofers, a lot of PAs, contractors, they're not paying attention to these windows. And Shane's taught me an awful lot about windows. And it's not so much the wind that's blowing up against the windows, it's the pressure in the home that changes it, and that will draw air in and have these windows to fail. But tonight, really what I want to do is I want to kind of focus on the fact that the laws have changed. Okay, love them or hate them, DeSantis really, really hurt Floridians with this new law that's changed, and I can't see it being reversed. It's like they take it, they're not giving it back. So in saying that, what I'd like to talk a little bit about is an emergency action plan for all of your customers. All right, that I think is the most important thing in respect to any future claims that are coming up, is properly documenting your home and making sure that everything is documented prior to a loss. And it doesn't need to be a hurricane or a flood or anything. It just be any normal everyday claim that you have, a water loss, a pipe bursting, a roof leak. The better you can document your home prior to a loss, the better off you're going to be with getting the insurance company to pay out on it. All right. Even with these hurricanes, they're coming into these homes, and this looks like it was old damage long before the storm ever happened. Meanwhile, we're 15 months out from a storm. Mold can grow in 72 hours, so it's impossible for them to say that, but they do. So if you have the proper documentation. So if you go to our website, it's remediation911.com. Very easy to remember, remediation911.com. There's a free download for an emergency action plan that's on there. And it's very comprehensive. It's not like you need water and batteries. I mean, this is showing you how to do policy review. That's the first and foremost, most important thing when you're documenting your home, is knowing what kind of coverage do you have? What is it? And when you get renewals on your insurance policies, they say, here are the changes to your policies, and they list numbers. You have to actually go into the body of that policy and look and see what it is that they changed. And what's happening a lot for a lot of people is they're putting $10,000 water caps on losses in homes right now on a lot of these policies. 99% of losses to properties are from water. So you have a $10,000 cap on any coverage, not on mitigation. I'm talking about all the coverage. So the average kitchen in a home's $30,000. So how are you ever going to get whole after that if you're not paying attention? So go to our website, check it out. It's it's extremely comprehensive, and it's for everything. I mean, everything from a sinkhole loss to however you properly document things. But you're going to want to document your home properly. Document all your contents in your home. Show them in good standings. And this is the stuff that you want to update maybe quarterly, even just the photographs of your home, if anything. So that's it for me, guys. I mean, we're full service. We do everything from remediation to build back and everything in between. I am a state licensed public adjuster. I have a very good understanding of how these claims work, but I'd lean on guys like Harvey all day long to help my clients be successful.
Great. We have a question here. You answered one of them, but what makes, I know what it is, but what makes Remediation 911 stand out from the competitors?
That we're family owned and operated. I'm still the lead sales guy for my company. Every client that we have is interacting directly with me. The phones ring to my number. So I want to talk to everybody. I want everybody to know who this company is. And I really believe it's just because it's run by a family that really cares.
Wow, that's a good answer. Good answer. Hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Anthony.
Thanks, Shane.
Any questions for Anthony? Any questions? Paul, we want to come back to you because there's a couple questions I would like to ask you personally, if you don't mind. One of them was about how can storm consultants help the contractor help the client, and what can they do in order to do that?
So the big thing with storm consultants, what we do is we connect people. That's why we started Storm Consultants, was to connect property owners. Property owners don't know what to do a lot of times when a storm comes and you got 1,000 public adjusters, 1,000 roofers knocking on your door, and you don't know who to trust. One of the biggest things I learned in the 26 years of doing this business is we have a bad name. Stormers have bad names. Public adjusters have bad names, and some attorneys have bad names, and contractors. And I try to get rid of that stigma because we only work with the best. I'll tell Harvey all the time that he's the Rolls Royce of the attorneys. Chris is awesome. Anthony's awesome. Everybody on this panel is people that we vetted and that we work with. And me and Harvey were just having this conversation. Working with like-minded people. And like-minded people meaning that people that care. And without people caring, it's just business. And we don't do anything that's just business. That's not just who we're about. So the nice thing with Storm Consultants is we have a couple things. We go and consult the property owner and get them with everybody, help them manage the job, get them with the correct contacts, the attorney, the public adjuster, the remediator, the testers, whoever it may be. And then finally, we also do another thing is that we teach contractors that want to learn how to do the insurance claim process the correct way. And we'll teach processes, procedures, how to get marketing, how to go all the way down with our affiliate programs. We have over 20 affiliates that we work with that can help in that aspect as well. So that's what Storm Consultants does. And also, it brings on these events. So everybody gets educated in the community. And anything in business, I will tell anybody, if you're ever in business, and just as a human being, everything's not always about money. You always have to have a servant's heart. And a servant's heart is giving back. Matter of fact, I had a meeting today, and we're scheduling our next event. And that event happens to be at a church. And one of the things I told the people that we're doing is that we need to tithe back to the church 10%. You believe in God or not, I believe in God, and I believe that we tithe back 10% for that event. That's the right thing to do. So that's who Storm Consultants is, and that's who I am.
Great. Thank you for that. Great. Thank you so much, Paul. All right, here we go. Cohen Law. As a young man, Harvey V. Cohen enlisted in the Army. Hey, thank you very much for your service, Harvey. He enrolled in the GI Bill program that ultimately helped him earn his bachelor's degree from UCF. Harvey went on to attend school at Stetson University College of Law in St. Pete, Florida. After graduating from Stetson, Mr. Cohen was employed by the State's Attorney's Office as a prosecutor. Mr. Cohen handles thousands of criminal cases during that time. He conducted over 40 jury trials, executed extensive motion practice, and conducted countless depositions. Later, Mr. Cohen branched out as a solo practitioner without staff or associates. And he did that, growing his own firm to 75 attorneys and 200 employees. After numerous hurricanes in Florida between 2004 and 5, Mr. Cohen represented homeowners who suffered hurricane damage to their own homes. Mr. Cohen has handled thousands of insurance claims and is known throughout the state of Florida and nationwide as the go-to attorney for cases as it pertains to the restoration industry. On a personal note, Harvey does not know this. I was in Panama City for the hurricane there. What hurricane was that? Yeah, Hurricane Michael. And I had a chance to go to a Harvey Cohen event, and all my mentors who are up here, I'm talking the likes of Ken Siders and Ken Larson, are telling me what a big deal Harvey was. So I was so nervous, I went up, shook his hand, and he grabbed me back and kind of started talking to me a little bit. He had no reason to do that. So my first experience with you welcomed me into this group, and I wanted to thank you tonight. Please make applause for Harvey Cohen.
Thank you for saying that. I was worried for a second. I was like, I don't know where this is going. Yeah.
I'm going to kick her. No.
Well, listen, obviously, Paul, everybody up here, I'm honored to be part of this panel with such great people. Thank you all for coming out. We are, like Paul was saying, we're here to help. That's the number one thing. We're going to get paid. All that stuff happens. If you do the right thing and help people, everything else will come in line. And that's what we're all about. And that's what Paul and I were talking about earlier, about working together with all these great people and having like mind, what is our focus? And it's people. Anyway, I want to jump right in and start talking about the changes in the law, which we touched on a little bit, which is that they did change these laws. And before it was like 5 years for a hurricane claim. Then it turned to 3 years for a hurricane claim. Then 2. Now it's 1, but now it's 1 for anything. So it doesn't matter if it's a hurricane, hailstorm, thunderstorm, a pipe breaks in your kitchen. It doesn't matter. Everything is 1 year, what's called a notice requirement. So as long as you give your insurance company notice of a claim within the 1 year, you're going to be okay. We're still, for the Ian claims, we're under 2 years. So we're still good until, what we got, like 8 more months? September 28th, however many months that is. So, but if you live here, if you work here, if you do anything like this, if I owned any kind of construction company or engineering, all my focus would be all these Ian claims, because that's the last time we're going to get those. Like, I agree with Anthony. It's not changing back. People ask me all the time, hey, Harvey, when do you think we're going to change it back to the way it used to be? I go, it's never going to change. Never, right? Not only that what do they promise us all the time? No, we're doing all these changes so that your insurance rates will go down. Who has had an insurance rate go down ever? Ever. And insure your homeowner, your car insurance. Our PIP, PIP for car insurance has been $10,000 since 1980. Okay, in 1980, $10,000 was a lot more than it is today. And has our insurance rates gone down 1 penny? No, they only go up. So it's not going to change, and we're going to continue to pay these rates. And we need to make sure we hold the insurance companies accountable for what they're supposed to do, right? It's a contract. I'm going to pay you all this money until I need you, and now it's your turn to cover me, right? And that's what it's all about, and that's what we're here for. Oh, I just want to point out too, a couple of my partners are here. Stand up for a second. Isabel and Natisha. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for coming down. And we do have a firm that we represent. We've done everything from, a few $1,000 up into the tens of millions of dollars, and everything in between. And we just really fight hard for our clients. And we try to be our best. We try to communicate effectively and keep people in the know, right? So that they don't just wonder what in the world is going on with my claim at any time. And we work really, really hard, and we're same thing. We try to bring the best people into our teams and hire the best and win. So a couple other things that we're going to talk about today is obviously windows. Look, I love windows. Some of my attorneys don't like it so much because it's like Isabel loves them. No, because it is tricky and it's hard. And this is what happens: an adjuster will come out and go, "Oh no, look at these windows, they're fine." Or if you looked at it, you're like, "Oh, what's the matter with that window? It's not broken. A tree didn't come through the window, so there's no problem with these windows." But as the experts can tell you, those windows is exactly what we're talking about. It's the pressure, right, that comes into the house. And those windows, especially during a hurricane, are moving back and forth 1,000 times a second, and it's unseating them. And so if you look at it, you go, no, that window's fine, but really it's compromised, and water gets up under there and goes down inside the wall, and you don't know anything about it until you open up the wall and figure that stuff out. But we love to do that kind of stuff. We've had cases that the windows were more than the roof, And that's so important because that way we can really make sure that we cover everything for our clients from top to bottom, the whole envelope, right? I don't care if it's stucco, windows, whatever else it is, that all of those things need to be taken care of every single time, especially during the big hurricane claims. So I know we touched on that a little bit, and we love to do those windows, and it's so important to have the right experts to support your case. Yes, sir. Okay, so the 25% rule is a question. Let me just explain what that was. So in Florida, we had it was kind of a good baseline, basically, that said if more than 25% of your roof is damaged, you have to replace the entire roof. You can't just replace 26% of it. So that helped us because we said, look, you go to the insurance company and go, okay, look, more than 25% of this is messed up. And so now we have to replace the entire roof. Though they changed that law also, which is another one. But it's still the older cases, I think 2006 maybe, and before, that it's still under the 25% rule. But let me tell you what we do too. Even when we had that, especially, let's say, tile claims, we always fight for this entire, I don't care if you go on the roof and everything looks perfect, and your roof looks great, and there are no missing tiles or no broken tiles, but you can lift them all up. So that means, the 2 inches. So I call it like the 2-finger test. You go around and pick all those up. And what happens is the same like the windows, is during the hurricane, your tiles are going like that. And so they're moving a little bit like this, and then what happens is the seal from the fastener, it's not a watertight seal anymore for the underlayment. So what we say is we go, I don't care about the tile. Look, the tiles look great. We need to get to the underlayment, and the only way to replace the underlayment is what? Rip off the roof, rip off the underlayment, put down a new one, fasten it back, right? So we do that. Even before they had that, we, obviously, we try to think of every, if there's 5 arguments that we can have, we want all 5 going in so that they, we want to cut them off at the knees so that we can, recover as much money for our clients as we can. But that's a good question.
25% rule, does that apply to windows?
There's nothing. I don't think I've ever read anything in the code, and my partners could probably answer this more than I can. But I've never read anything about windows, but we do say things like matching or whatever, so we try to get that whole, thing going on where we can't replace these few windows and then all the rest of them don't match everything else. So we do that kind of stuff, but generally when windows are messed up, we can get them all bought, or at least most of them, and if the homeowner has to kick in a little bit of money. But listen, windows, okay, Has anybody ever just bought windows like at retail or called any? I don't know if you guys have done that, but it's expensive, man. I was gonna say outrageous. It is so expensive, you know. And then you're like, okay, it's a window. You know what's going on here? But it's that new code that they have to live up to. And the other thing, the way to talk to your clients about this too is even whatever it is, windows or roof. If they do these things, or even if they have to come out of pocket a little bit, the increased value of their house is going to go way up, right? You're going to have more equity in your home than you ever did with a new roof and new windows. Not only that, your insurance company is going to want you, right? They want people with brand new roofs that are built up to code. They want people with brand new windows that are up to code, that are safe and have been installed properly. So all of those things are so important, and it actually benefits the client ultimately. And when in the new laws, when we change and we can't recover fees on top of money, that's going to have to be the new sales pitch, right? Hey, guess what? You know, before, like, it's easy enough. I'm going to sell a roof. Guess you're only going to have to pay your deductible, and the insurance company covers the rest. In the future, it might be something like, look, your tile roof is $85,000. By the time everything gets paid, you're going to have to pay $20,000 or whatever. I don't know. But now you get an $80,000 roof for $20,000. You know what I mean? So it's going to change, and it has to come from somewhere. And unfortunately, the future is that. So that's why I'm telling everybody, please do everything you can to get to these homeowners that need your help, that need all of our help, whether it's me or any other attorneys. I don't care, that, you know, as long as they get the right help. Yes, sir. Ian. Okay. So listen, if it's you personally, your own fight, then it might be worth it for us. But what happens a lot is, you know, our contractors go, Harvey, I'm going to refer you this case. And it's People's Trust. Or not. I'm not going to say any names. It's an insurance company, whoever it is, that has right to repair. And it's a solid one. And I tell them, listen, man, we can do that case, and we'll probably win and get fees and all that stuff, but you're not going to win. And what happens, too, is, you know, like if you write up a $30,000 shingle roof and we win, but they were only going to pay their contractor $12,000, then they'll say, okay, well, here, you can have the $12,000, and you're going to say, well, I can't do a roof for $12,000. That's a $30,000 roof. So that's how you know, you won, but you didn't really win. So we always want to be your partners and your, you know, wingmen and all that stuff. You know, I want to win and lose together. But we do have, sometimes, you know, somebody will say, look, I don't care about that. It's my friend or my neighbor or whatever. So just do whatever you can to help them. And, you know, ultimately they know we're not going to get this roof when it comes through, you know, or they're not going to want it for the amount of money that we're going to be able to get from them. So we can't stick it to them. But look, I've done classes before where we did a class about that. And I'm telling you, it was packed, man. There was standing room only. Everybody came there. They couldn't wait to hear it. And I said, let me just tell you right now, spoiler alert, you're not going to like what I tell you. You know, everybody came there because, you know, everybody's like, well, what's the trick to get around all that? The trick is there's no trick. There's no trick. Well, okay, but there's no, like, trick to get around it. Here's one thing that we have done before, though, is we've had clients and, like, look, they're trying to make us use these people. They're terrible. We can tell. You gotta go, let them do it. When they do it wrong, then guess what happens? Now we can file a lawsuit against the insurance company for construction defects. So now it takes it out of that realm. Not only that it takes it out of policy limits. So I don't care whatever their policy limits were for these things that they had to do. Now we can sue them for whatever the total cost of all of the problems that they created. And we've seen a lot of that, man. You know, especially like dry outs. Man, they'll come in and go like, oh, I put a DU in here for a day and suck up the water. Okay, bye. Get it out. I'm like, whoa. You know, first of all, it's summertime. We just had her, like all of these terrible things, and they're gonna grow mold, and they're gonna. Am I talking too long? And it just goes on and on where we can go back later and say and kind of get them for doing a terrible job. No, that's like a third party claim. So, but we would still get the same thing, right? But then if we go and get a roof and we go, okay, now they don't get the chance to do it themselves. Now we go, oh, by the way, we have to go back, and now it's going to cost, $50,000 to rip off all the bad stuff and do, fix all the problems and come back and put on a new one. But yeah, that's a percentage thing. Or whoever it is, like you guys were saying earlier, know what's in your policy, right? So many people, this is not a joke. There are policies written here in Florida, and I tell people this all the time, it's unbelievable. So there are policies that they'll write for you and they'll sell to you that have no water coverage, zero, which is the number one claim, zero. But guess what they have in it in Florida? Volcano. So they have volcano coverage, but no water. Come on, man. We live in Florida. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen any volcanoes around here. So if your hurricane gets hit by a volcano, you're covered. But if you got a pipe leak, then you're in big trouble. And even they'll have mold and no water. And I say, where did the mold come from? If there's no, right? If there's no moisture, then it didn't. How's this happen? Right. So we fight with them all the time about that, man. We kill them for that stuff. All right. Was there some other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Another question? Going once?
I'd like to just make a statement that Harvey and I were talking a little bit about before we came in here and spoke. It's just how important it is, again, to just educate clients. And most clients want to be as wise as how it is. And how many claims are you saying that by the time they get to them, the client's done, the insurance done such damage, you can't even help them?
It is like we were just, I was just telling them that story about the one recently that we've been talking to these people, a big board, and it's a big claim. And I've been talking to them for a long, long time. And they were always like, well, we're going to try to do it ourselves. And, sometimes they're like, no, our insurance agent said he's going to handle it. And we're like, that guy gets paid by the insurance company. So, but you know what I mean? So but I'm always there. I'll go, look, if you need our help, we're here to help you. I answer their questions, answer. So finally they're like, okay, we had a board meeting. We want to hire you. But here's all the bad stuff that we've done in the past 8 months. And then I'm like, we had to literally tell a big claim, a client, sorry, we can't help you. I mean, really, it hurts me too because I want those big claims and I love those and I want to help those people. But they've done so much damage, we can't even get started. We're going to be in the hole and they're going to be, upset. Yeah. And so we just have to say, I'm sorry, we can't help you. Yes, sir. No, absolutely not. I've never seen a bad contractor.
Those are the right to repair guys.
Well, So the truth is that we don't get involved with that. So if our job is to go collect a bunch of money. So if we go, hey, condo association here, we got you $8 million, and they go, we want to hire this roofer that is super cheap. I can't stop them. I give them referrals, and I try to get them with the best people, but you know how it is, man. Sometimes they are not going to listen to you no matter what you do because all they're looking at is the money, the dollar, not really the value of what they're buying. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. No, we work with other attorneys who do construction defects. Yeah.
Great. Anything else? All right. We would like to turn it back over. Round of applause, please, for Harvey Cohen Law Group. Thank you very much, Harvey. All right. We're going to turn it back over to Renegade Construction and Roofing. roofing, and Paul is our guy. And guys, I want you to think about this. There's not many of us in here in this room that knows what it takes to put this together, between audio, visual, food, alcohol, invites. It's a daunting task, and one man can't do it, but Paul sure has pulled it off. So give Paul a round of applause and give me your attention, please.
So before I go on with Renegade, because that's going to finish it up, a couple things I want to say. Again, we appreciate everybody coming out. Please get with everybody that's here. It's the sponsors. This is free for everybody that's on this panel, our base sponsors. I want to give it up for Integrity Claims, Chris from Integrity Claims is a base sponsor. From NB Handy, Sabrina and her team, thank you to them. Also, Markin Products and Everything Exteriors. Two of them set up, the other two just sponsored the event and helped out. But I appreciate all of you guys, and everybody give everybody a big hand for that. So and the last thing I was going to ask is if everybody at the end of this, David and his team over here has got video. If you've worked with any contractors in here or anybody on this panel, would you please stop by and give an interview to him of what your background is with that company and how they've worked for you? Same thing for Renegade, Storm Consultants, Remediation 911, MIS, and Tech in a Flash, and Cohen Law Group. If you could give a testimonial to them, that would be a great pleasure. That's the only thing that we ask back from you for coming out to this event tonight. That'd be awesome. So talking about Renegade Roofing. So Renegade Roofing is a roofing and general contractor. Obviously, that's how we got started. And we go out and we do inspections, free inspections on properties. A couple things I want to talk about real quick, because we're getting to the end, is I want to talk about roofing and tile roofs. A little thing on the tile roofs here. Tile, and we talk about tile and window damage, but one of the big things, as you can read up here, is getting both window testing and tile roof inspections could save you from further damage to your property. Even if you do not notice any obvious damage, it could still be present. So what that means is, on these tile roofs, I'm going to show you the next slide here. This is the window one. On the tile, look at the pictures of this. How many people from those pictures think you can get a full tile replacement of your roof? 2 people. 3. Cohen Law Group attorneys, do you think you can get a full replacement of those? You heard it from the attorneys right here. So where I'm going with this conversation is I had a gentleman call me after one of these events and say, hey, Paul, can you come and inspect my roof? I had my roof inspected after Ian, and the contractor's a local contractor, and he says I had a couple broken tiles, but my roof's fine. We can just repair them. Well, living in Florida and being a contractor does not mean that you know how to get insurance claims approved. I just want to say that first and foremost. So when somebody comes knocking at your door and they're not from here, then they're probably not going to understand the process. Because I admit it, in 2004 when I came to Florida and was an insurance adjuster, I didn't know that I could pay for a full tile job, and the insurance company wasn't telling me pay for a repair. I learned in about a few months that no, this whole roof needs to be paid for. Reason being, here we go, guys. Reason being is what Harvey was saying earlier. When the tiles go like that, it's called chattering. And it pulls up the washers, it pulls up the screws, it can rip the underlayment, and the biggest problem is slippage. So what happens with that, it tears the underlayment. And a lot of times you do not get leaks for years to come after. Big problem with law change, correct? We went from 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. Most leaks after a hurricane, some will come immediately, but a lot of them will come 2-3 years later. What is that poor homeowner going to do after 2 or 3 years? Nothing. They're stuck. Now they've got to pay for an $85,000 roof that they could have got the insurance company to pay for with a correct inspection. So I tell people all the time, make sure that you have a contractor that's doing roofs, inspect those roofs. Another step here. If most tile companies are smart, they're like cars, car manufacturers. They got smart after probably Hurricane Andrew. They said, hey, we're going to start changing our tile molds or our sizes every 2 years. Because what does that mean? When a hurricane comes, we just did a whole subdivision of brand new houses, and that whole subdivision of 500 houses, we don't make that tile anymore. So there's the matching issue. There's the underlayment issue. Well, we all in here get letters from the tile manufacturers stating if you use mismatched tiles, it is a safety hazard. They do not lock. There's a locking mechanism in there. And if they do not lock, and you have Pedro mowing your lawn, and one of those tiles falls off and hits him in the head, who's liable? So make sure you understand that process. Another process here. Using mismatched tiles brings down the value of your home. Almost every HOA that I know in the state of Florida, I'm not going to say every because you might have some that don't, but most do not allow mismatched tiles in your neighborhood. Get your letter from the HOA and get it to your attorney. That is a big help for them. So those are some of the things I wanted to just talk about tile roofs. There's other things with metal roofs that we can go. And MB Handy, they can talk to you about metal roofs and how to get those approved with damage comes from storms as well. Flat roofs, same thing. There's uplift tests that we do. There we go again with testing companies that we bring. So this is why it's important to have a qualified contractor that knows the state. One of the biggest misconceptions with roofers in the state of Florida, I just heard it today from somebody in the room. How many contractors do you know say, oh, I'm using somebody's license? It's illegal. Just so you guys know, it's illegal. You're not supposed to be using anybody's license. So that means that person's using someone's license. They probably came from Michigan, Montana, wherever they came from. They don't know the laws here. And the state of Florida laws are more strict than almost any other state that I know. California and Nevada might be close second and third. But the laws, you have to know your guys' laws here. So, again, that's why we started Storm Consultants to go along with Renegade Roofing so we could help. And, again, Harvey, you got anything to add to that? See, I'm getting good. I listen.
I think it's important too to know that there are retail contractors and then there are insurance contractors. We've got a lot of windows that we're actually looking at right now that they've already had like a local retail window company come out and say, this windows are fine. They're just not in the business of testing and doing that investigation like an insurance contract. But remediation is much different. Most 95% of our business is insurance related. But when it comes to windows, when it comes to roofs, you really want to make sure that your contractor has a good understanding of the insurance world. Otherwise, they're not helping you at fast enough.
Add to that as well of the when you're dealing with windows again, to just do a district, to just look at a window. You don't know. And they do get compromised after hurricane, after storm. So it's really very important, especially when you're going up against these insurance companies, you're working with lawyers, Harvey, another law firm, public adjustment, to make sure that you do have an accredited testing agency that has the credentials that can work with your attorney or your public adjuster to get you exactly what you need. Very important. Don't discard it.
One last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll open up the questions, and then we'll be done. How many people think, and I know Kim and I work together, and I know a couple other engineers and a couple other window testings, and I've talked to every single one of them, and Kim's friends with some of them as well, and we've all had this conversation, and then I brought it to Harvey's attention. How many people know the percentage of window damage from Marco Island to, let's say, Venice Beach, and then start heading west or east through Daytona? How many percentage of the windows do you think are damaged? From what I'm told from everybody that's window testing company and experts and engineers that have been looking in those areas, 80% of the windows are not good. Let's just talk about this area right here. There's been, since 2004, at least 3 hurricanes that have hit Naples all the way up to Port Charlotte area, or Charlotte County, I should say. Harvey was talking earlier about window pressures. Do you think those window pressures are still good after one hurricane? They've been through 3 hurricanes. So last thing I'm going to leave us with, anybody that you know that has not had their windows inspected, has not had their roof inspected, shingle, tile, metal, whatever it may be, flat, have a qualified contractor come over, take a look at those, and if anybody needs help, they can call myself, they can call Harvey, they can call anybody on this panel, Anthony, anybody on there. We all work together. We know what we're doing, and the biggest thing you need is a collaboration of a team that knows how to get this stuff approved. That is the biggest thing for you.
Based on this statistical analysis that you just provided, if your home was built in 1978-ish, you have original windows and doors, probability of the likelihood statistically of them being fucked.
Probably, hey, I'm going to use this one. I'd never say 100, so 80%. So that's the thing is, if you have the attorney and we go through and do the visual inspection, and you're actually with Cohen, because you're with me too. So see people come and they come for us. We would talk to Harvey and say, hey, Harvey and his team, these windows, after a visual inspection, we think that these need to be looked at, and then his team would make the decision if they're right. So we've already had this conversation, but that's the way it goes. Is we'd come out, we would do a visual inspection, and then at that time we would either let Chris know or we'd let Harvey know, and Harvey would come up and say, hey, I think we need to have the window inspection company come out. And that would be Kim's company or whatever company they use. That's how that would work. Now, one of the last things I want to say about this is windows. Want to know why windows are so expensive? Drywall repair, insulation, stucco repair, matching stucco, repainting. Now is that texture going to match? I've seen a lot of stucco repairs after that do not match. Does that get approved for a full after? There you go. So this is a lot of stuff that people don't understand. It's a whole process. So people, we have 8 months. Get the word out there to people that we can help, because after 8 months, you're going to flip the bill. And I said I've always do this. Last thing I'm going to say. Right. So one of the other things that happens. No, I lost my train of thought. Well, I'm just going to end there. I had another what I was going to tell you guys, but I forgot. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys. Thank Harvey. Thanks Anthony, Kim, Matthew, and everybody that sponsored. Yes.
I got to pick something. So Renegade Roofing is also Renegade Roofing and Construction. So they also do construction, which means they also cover windows. I've probably spoken to 15 window companies, and every time I ask them, do you work with insurance? And they're like, no. So if you're not working with somebody like this, window companies are not going to help you. And the other thing, it's so important to educate the customer. I've been to customers, and after the hurricane, and then they go, well, I had a little water on the windowsill, but it's okay now. They don't know that window's been compromised, and they're happy to go, it only happened once. So it's your job as contractors, educate the customer so that they know, yes, I have to deal with this. I can't just let it go away.
Yeah, and that's perfect. Steve?
What is MySaveFloridaHome.com, the government program to subsidize windows and roofs?
I haven't looked into that. I'll tell you what. I'm the expert in insurance. I don't have that. I mean, if somebody has that, I would like the information, but I don't. So.
It's about $10,000. Yeah, it's about $10,000. You got to put in $5,000. They'll give you $10,000.
I mean, it was a big fund.
It was a big fund. I don't know if it's still funded, but basically
it was only like 500. It was something low, and you only get $10,000. So
you got to put in 5,000, and then you'll get 10,000, and it's maxed out.
Right.
So it's a 2-for-1 situation. But I don't know if it's
the whole
co-funded.
fund wasn't even that big, really.
Right.
I mean, when you think, well, how many people do we have? 22 million, something like that? Yeah, so, not enough. It was, yeah.
Again, when the government wants to give a token, they give a token. They don't give a lot, unfortunately. But yeah, I want to thank everybody. Our next event that we're going to be having is already getting started. We're sponsoring an event. Cohen Law Group will be there with us as well with CCCIA. That event will be at Cape Christian Church in Cape Coral. So we're looking for sponsors for that event. That Cape Coral Construction Industry Association, there'll be a lot of contractors there. That's what it is, all contractors. Anthony's a part of it as well. Cohen's a part of it. So we're all going to be having that. That's going to be our next event, and we're going to be talking about the same stuff. I think we'll switch it up a little, talk about a little about what you should have in your policy. You know, that would be one of the things we talk about, because one of the things is, you know, I'm sitting up here with that right to repair stuff, and to me, it's a conflict of interest. And I don't know if a lot of people know, but People's Trust owns Rapid Response. How is that legal? So that's going to be our next event, and then after that, we'll be back at Top Golf in May. So I want to thank everybody for coming up. Everyone give everybody a big round of applause.